Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Afro Boss Lady Show. This is your host Jenny. So today the topic is going to be about how to be a confident business woman in relationships. So let's get some tea, let's get some champagne glasses, and we're going to get started. Cheers. So this is a topic that so many of you women have asked me to talk about. So I've decided today is the day, so I'm going to talk about it. And I'm sure some men, right? I mean, you men are probably wondering how is she doing it, right? So let's get started. The first thing first that I wanted to mention is really all about confidence. Because as a single, confident woman, it's really something that I can never be tired to talk about this. So, how to be a confident woman and how to be bold in your own skin and authentic in your own truth. The first thing is really your DNA. I think there are women who are more prone to being confident because it's just due to genetics, right? And there are women who have to work harder and have to work, for a longer period of time at building that confidence. So I'm going to give you some facts. I was the little girl who thought that she was the most amazing thing. Not because I was beautiful, not because I was smart, because I wasn't considered smart, but just because I knew that I was more than what other people thought I was. I think it was just that innate confidence. I can't really explain it to you, but I also think it's due to the way my parents educated me, due to the way my mom used to talk to me. And I grew up as a little girl really being confident, My first boyfriend, this is like facts right here. My first boyfriend, I had him at 21, guys. I was a grown woman. I mean, not grown, but I was already a mature, getting there, 21-year-old. One of the reasons why people may think that I'm picky or who do I think I am, why is it that I don't want to settle, it's really because I know who I am as a woman. I know what I want, I know what I desire, and I really know who I am. And that alone is going to keep you from, useless relationship, toxic relationship, and relationship that don't give you nothing. So in my previous relationships, I encountered many situations and many events where I had to shy away from being bold, from being ambitious. Because guys, if you know me, then you know I'm freaking ambitious. I mean, my goal is to be the next Oprah of Africa. Come on. So this is who I am. And I found out that in the dating scene, I was always focused on dating African men. If they are Cameroonian, why not? But it was always African men. And the reason why is because I knew that my goal was to relocate back to Africa or back to Cameroon. So I really had no interest in dating outside of, my race or outside of my continent. I've dated African men who had no interest of coming back to Africa. And I've ended those relationships like that, right? Without even a date or without a second date whatsoever. I've been on dates with men who told me that they have a vested interest in Africa, but they're really thinking of remaining in the US, retiring in the US. They want their kids to grow up in the US, and I've also ended those relationships like that. The reason why, and I know some of you are going to be like, but how are you sure that you're the person, blah, blah, blah. I know everyone has a different story. As for me, this is exactly what I wanted. I wanted somebody who will come back home, somebody who would be like, let's invest in some businesses, and somebody who will have love for Africa. It didn't even have to be Cameroon. It had to be for Africa. Because I'm really somebody who is not stuck. I'm not attached to a country. I'm not attached to a place. So I'm willing to to explore Africa, go to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Congo, anywhere that I feel like is going to be good for us as a couple, for us as a family. But my focus first of all was Africa. Are you coming back to Africa? So the thing is that as a confident woman, right, you have to know who you are, because this is the foundation of everything. If you don't know who you are, then it's really hard for you to set standards, because what's going to happen is that other people are going to set standards for you, because they're trying to tell you who you should be, right? It's like telling somebody, I want to go to school, and then the person asks you, what do you want to do? What do you want to study? And you tell the person, I don't know. Then you're going to have somebody telling you, oh, I know exactly what you should do, because this is what my sister did and she was successful at it. So if you don't know who you are, it makes it easier for somebody to convince you who you should be. So as a confident woman, this is the first step. You have to get to know who you are. And I think in your early 20s, it's really hard for us women to know who we are, because we're still exploring our femininity, we're still exploring our whole womanhood. So it's really something that there's no pressure, whatever, right? There's no pressure for you to know who you are at 21. Some women know who they are at 21, some at 18, some at 30. There's nothing wrong with it. But the earlier you know who you are, the better it is for you to really remove all the people that do not service you or do not make you feel good or do not, add anything, any value to your life. So that's how I go about being and appearing and breathing as a confident woman, because I'm like, this is who I am, and I'm not going to compromise who I am, because it's one thing to compromise your way of living, right? Meaning, I like white walls, but now that I'm in a relationship, he likes gray walls. So let's see how we can find the middle ground, right? You can compromise that. You can compromise, I want to live in an apartment, he wants to live in a house. Let's see how we can compromise that, right? You can compromise, hey honey, I feel like having a 4-bedroom house would be better, but this is a 3-bedroom. You can compromise on that. You cannot compromise on who you are, because compromising on who you are means that God or the universe or the high power, however you want to call it, means that he made a mistake to make you this way. So for some women that I've had to talk to, friends of mine that I've had to talk to, I don't, and I talk to these women as you shouldn't have to compromise or to betray your authentic self. But the problem is not really you betraying who you are, is not knowing who you truly are. So as for me, I'm still growing, I'm still mature. I mean, when I say growing, maturing, and I'm still discovering every aspect of me, right? So who I am or who I believe that I am today may not be who I'm going to be tomorrow, right? Because I'm evolving, I'm changing, and that's okay. If you don't want to change, it means that you are staying stagnant, right? We have to evolve. So the girl that I was, even though I thought I was confident when I was younger, the things that I desired in a relationship or in a man when I was 21 are not the same things that I desire today in my 30s. For example, at 21, when I was dating my first boyfriend, I never really thought or processed the whole thing about moving back to Cameroon or moving back to Africa. It was mainly, you know what, you're going to have a good job, I'm going to have a good job, we're just going to live together, love each other. And it took me a couple years into the relationship when I was about to be 24, because I think at 24 we had broken up. So when I was about to be 24, so I was 23, that's when I started questioning myself, because I realized that he wanted me to be, housewife. He wanted me to have a stable job. He wanted me to just, be there at all times for him and cater to him. And I realized that I wasn't that person after me going to school, and really seeing the way I was operating even at school. I was involved in different organizations. I was involved in public speaking events and things like that. So I knew that that wasn't who I was, to just remain in one spot with one job and just be comfortable having a white picket fence house and, you know, coming back to my husband. That wasn't it. And at the time, I used to think that love was enough, because, you know, when you're younger, you think, oh my God, I'm in love. Girl, nah, that's not enough. So it wasn't until, you know, I became just a little bit more mature that I was like, okay, this is not going to be enough. Love is not going to sustain our relationship. I want more out of life. I want to be able to travel. You don't want to travel. I want to be able to invest in Africa. You don't want to invest in Africa. I want to be the type of woman that will be an entrepreneur. You don't want me to be an entrepreneur because you think I'm not going to have a stable income. So it was those little things, right, that made me understand that this was not the person for me. And even after trying for another year to be in a relationship, it was just as obvious. Yeah, like, yeah, we were not meant to be with each other. And that's usually what happened in your first relationship. You know, for some of you who have your first relationship and you marry the person, you're lucky. That's all I can say. I feel like the closer you get to your 30s, you get reminded that, hey, is that time, you know, your clock is ticking. And guys, I'm not even gonna lie to you, I don't have that issue because I don't have that pressure. I don't put it in my head. Life unfolds the way it unfolds, right? I'm not pushing or forcing something to happen. That's bottom line. Even in my businesses, I go with the flow. I try to do things that are in my power, but I don't force the unattainable things, right? So if I cannot attain it, I can't force it, right? Because sometimes you have to be mentally prepared here and also physically prepared in order to go for a fight. You cannot just say, let me get up and let me, you know, join the army and I'm going to make it. No, you have to be mentally prepared. So the same thing with relationship. You have to be mentally prepared to go into a relationship, to embrace everything that comes with that relationship. Some of us have a goal, right? I need to get married by a certain age. I need to be pregnant by a certain age. I used to have that goals, guy. Like, seriously, don't get me wrong. When I was in my early 20s, I used to have the goal because I felt like this is what I was supposed to do. This is what society is expecting me to do. You know, my parents are expecting me at some point in my 20s to get married, to start having kids. And that's just the way society is. Until I started working on myself spiritually, until I started truly getting to know who I am. And I realized that more time than often, we worry about things that do not even exist. We create an entire wall, an entire bubble of anxiety just because we feel like we're missing out on something. And I have to really say it again because I feel like as I'm saying it, some women may say, oh, easier for you to say. No, it's really something that I had to work on it. In order for me to live a fruitful, happy, joyful, loving, peaceful life, I had to really come into my own terms, sit down and tell myself what would make you happy. And it wasn't a relationship that would make me happy. It wasn't a kid, a baby that would make me happy. Those are unknown, right? You don't know how your future is going to be. You don't even know how your baby is going to look like. You don't know what you're going to be dealing with. But one thing that you always going to be with for life until death do us apart is yourself. Once you have yourself, that's why people go with the terms, you know, you cannot get happiness from things or from people. You have to get it from within. Because it wasn't until I started working on myself and being comfortable in my own skin that I was like, I'm good, you know? It was that easy. I was just like, I think I'm good. In 2012, I was, talking to a guy. I was dating a guy. Just started talking to him basically. And I was expecting him to be there for me. I was expecting him to understand what I was going through because I wasn't in a happy space, in a happy place. And he wasn't giving me what I wanted from him. So I watched The Law of Attraction, The Secret. You guys probably know, I don't know. But that totally changed the way I saw things. It changed my perspective on many things. And it had allowed me up to today to just be comfortable in my own skin, right? I was expecting him at the time to bring me joy, to bring me happiness. And I remember watching that documentary. One thing, it was just like a sentence, right? If you cannot enjoy your own company, why would you expect somebody else to enjoy your company? Come on. That was the driving force of me drastically changing my perspective on things, my perspective on life. And it was really life-changing for me because at that point in time where I felt like it was one of my lowest times, it wasn't my lowest time, but one of my lowest time where I didn't feel happy with the job that I had. I didn't feel happy moving to a different state and not having any friend. At that moment, I had a girlfriend, but she had left. And that was really that sentence alone was the driving force to who I am becoming today. Because I realized that it wasn't going to be that guy making me happy, even though I was expecting him to. I was expecting him to understand me. I was expecting him to be there. I was expecting him, all of these things that I was expecting, and I still wasn't happy. And it wasn't until that I was like, you know what? I can make me happy. And I went on the journey to becoming self-sufficient. Of course, you still need a community of people that you can share with, your family, your friends, maybe your mate. But at the end of the day, you have you first, right? So if you alone in your house, your apartment, you cannot really sit with your own self and be at ease, or sit with your own self and be comfortable, be happy, be loving, then whatever is coming out of you that is not happy, you're going to carry the same energy into your relationship, and it's going to weigh heavy on your partner. That's just the bottom line. You cannot give to somebody what you don't have. If you're a person full of joy, of laughter, of peace, that's what you're going to give to somebody, because that's who you are. That's what you have. You cannot press an orange juice and get apple juice, for example. If you are a person that has a lot of frustration, a lot of anxiety, a lot of sadness, as you going into that relationship, you're going to bring that type of energy, and that energy is toxic for any type of relationship. So now let me bring everything together, because I feel like I've talked a lot. How to become a confident woman starts from within, and it starts with you. It doesn't start from somebody else. You can get inspired from someone else to become that confident woman, just like I got inspired from that documentary to become my own self, my authentic self, right? Which had allowed me to become confident. But if you're going into a relationship thinking that's when you're going to be happy, that's when you're going to be comfortable, you're really going to hold on to the person. And what if the person is not there no more? Then who do you become? Your identity should not reside on somebody else. You have to be you before there's somebody else. Even in relationship, there is your own individuality and there's his individuality or her individuality, right? So I wanted to talk about it because many people had asked me the question, how are you so confident being single, a single businesswoman whatsoever? And I really wanted to address this because I feel like I've been getting those type of inquiries. Talk about relationship, talk about being confident. And another aspect of, you know, being a confident woman, an ambitious confident woman, is really tricky. There's a fine line between being the confident, bold woman that you would desire and being that he would desire. There's really a fine line. I found out that be like, I matter, I'm the man, you're supposed to take care of me, right? No, I'm not your mom, I'm not your babysitter.